Rece Davis, host of College Game Day, will join us. Is Rece in South Bend? Because the game is coming up tonight. Todd, do we know where Rece is?
I believe he's in South Bend by now for the game tonight.
You believe he is?
Because College Game Day is doing back-to-back action, Friday and Saturday, South Bend and Columbus.
All right. Well, why don't we find out where Rece Davis is, ESPN College Game Day host, live. They will be at Notre Dame from, 3:30 until 8 on the mothership. Then they go to Columbus for a second show. Are they paying you for both of these College Game Days, Rece?
Not extra, Dan. I think they took the original hour-and-a-half show and made it 4.5 hours. You know how that works at ESPN.
Yes.
But I'm actually thrilled by it. I can't think of a better place to be to start this playoff than on campus at Notre Dame. I was even advocating before we knew the pairings that we needed to be at Notre Dame Saturday morning, regardless of when the game was. But I think it's even better that they're playing the first one and we're here on Friday afternoon into Friday night.
Can you open up the curtains, look outside, and give me a weather forecast?
Yeah. I mean, it might look terrible, but I'm right on campus at the beautiful Morris Inn. Let's see if we can see a little snow out there.
Yeah.
It's nice and chilly. We're just a few steps away here from the Golden Dome, and we'll be beneath the Word of Life mural. I like to be official. People sometimes call it Touchdown Jesus, Dan, but it's the Word of Life mural, giving the gospel and good news to teams like Indiana who've made the playoff, I guess.
The pressure on Notre Dame when you're facing Indiana, so this is in-state, and Indiana never gets this opportunity, and now you have it. How much pressure? You just gave Marcus Freeman a contract extension as well. Mm-hmm. Vegas loves Notre Dame this year in the playoffs. So how much pressure?
I think if the game gets close, there might be some game pressure. But right now, both these teams are really similar. And, someone asked earlier this week what the rivalry situation was. And I said, there is no rivalry. I said, historically, the only thing that's consequential about Indiana to Notre Dame football is that they're in the same state. I mean, Indiana's lost more games than anybody in the history of the sport, and Notre Dame has the greatest tradition in terms of being a storied tradition of any. So it's, they're 200 miles apart, but separated by worlds, historically. So if it gets tight late, I would imagine Notre Dame could start feeling some of that pressure.
Somebody's going to lose. There's a home team that it feels like is going to lose this weekend. The odds are somebody's going to lose. Who do you think that would be?
I think, even though I think they're going to win, and I might be overly influenced by spending time there earlier this week, but I think if a home team is going to lose, it would be Ohio State, because I think that they are facing the best team in Tennessee, and they also are facing a team with a particular strength that is opposed by a particular weakness of Ohio State, meaning the defensive front. We saw what Michigan's defensive front did to Ohio State's revamped offensive line because of injuries, and Tennessee's defensive front is just as good. It's a little bit different, but it's deeper and maybe a little better on the edges. But they have a particular strength that could give Ohio State trouble. So I think that is the most likely one if a home team is to lose.
Why is it open season on Ryan Day?
I don't know. I mean, I understand rivalry. I understand the importance of it, Dan. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, really, this loss to Michigan is the only one that was a bad one. It's not your birthright to beat Michigan every year. And, this was a bad loss. There's no way around it. They played tight, they played poorly, and they should have won the game. The previous three, Michigan had better teams than they did. So they're the winningest program in the history of the sport. And this small faction, I think, generally of Ohio State fans that act as if it's their birthright, that they have some type of that they're entitled to beat Michigan every year is preposterous. The guy's 66-10. I think this is his fourth playoff appearance. It's really preposterous. Guy's a good football coach, and you got to be careful what you wish for. If they're trying to push him out, they better be careful what they wish for.
What tweaks would you suggest for the format next year?
Man, the first one, they've got to do away with this only conference champions getting the bye. The reward for winning your conference champion is inclusion into the field. Didn't just seed the tournament, and that's what it is. They have taken the team that's been best all season, Oregon, and created a more difficult path for Oregon than they did for Penn State, which lost to both Ohio State and to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. I mean, all of these teams are good and capable, but Oregon's got to play the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee. Penn State starts at home against SMU, good team. If they win, they get Boise State. Would you take that? To get to the semifinals, I think you would. So they have to change that immediately, Dan. I think that they did it this way because they want to value conference championships, and it was a mechanism to get it done, to get the other conferences to agree. Well, you're not going to go backwards now. So just seed the tournament. If it's 4 Big Ten teams that get the bye, so be it. It's the way it goes.
Talking to Rece Davis, ESPN College Game Day host, and he will be working tonight, this afternoon, 3:30 until 8 on the mothership at Notre Dame, and then goes Saturday morning, 9 a.m. until noon with the matchup with the Buckeyes and Tennessee. Yeah, if I'm Oregon, you probably wish you would have lost the game to Penn State because you would gladly, I think, exchange places with them.
I like the way, I agree with you, and I think in all practicality, it's an easier path than dealing with one of the other two. But I do like the way Dan Lanning has approached it. He's like, we're just going to try to win the games that are in front of us. We're good, and we think we can beat anybody. So I think he's handled it just the right way. But the unintended consequence of seeding the field like this is a problem, and really the whole bottom half of the bracket. Now Georgia is where it deserves to be. But if they're playing a backup quarterback, then you have that part of the bracket with Boise as 3 seed, Georgia the 2 seed with a backup quarterback, and some of that's luck of the draw. I understand injuries part of it and are going to happen, but the bracket is imbalanced, top and bottom. More power teams, including Texas, at the top than at the bottom.
If there was an MVP vote for College Game Day, who would win?
How about co-MVPs for? You think you're really going to get me with this one?
I thought I was.
Saban, McAfee, and Herbstreit all co-MVPs. Desmond also co-MVP. I'm just out there trying to help him get a first down.
Oh, look at you! Look at you! And
you know better than that.
I was trying. And it looks like you're channeling Jim Harbaugh with your look.
I've been mistaken for him at times. I'm a big Harbaugh guy. We have one of our runners on College Game Day has been with us for a couple of years. A woman called Ruby Dreyer, who is married to a former Ole Miss player who played for Jim with the Chargers. And when she came back this year, I told Ruby, I said, the part of your contract, if you've read the fine print, is that you owe me one Harbaugh story every week. So she would bring in these odd Harbaugh stories, but now AJ, her husband, is playing for the Seahawks. So we've run to the end of the Harbaugh stories. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Jim's. He cracks me up. I think he said it best. If you like football, you probably like Jim. And I do.
Georgia seems vulnerable, as you mentioned, now with Carson Beck done for the rest of the season here. Losing Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. I mean, that's had a really big impact on Carson Beck and that offense here. So what is this team, or who is this team now?
They're still really good on defense, and that defense should keep you in every game. Now, are they as good as they were a couple of years ago? They are not. They're a team that struggles to run the ball a little bit at times, and they've had some issues on the offensive line. They've certainly had issues, as you've alluded to, with playmakers on the outside. But they still are probably one of the 2 or 3 most talented rosters in this field. So I think, if Gunnar Stockton plays effectively, if they can run it well enough, and he's able to make enough throws, that Georgia still has a chance to win it all, because they've got as many good players as anybody, as many elite players in most positions as anyone in this field.
Give me, if there is a juxtaposition, the environment at South Bend tonight and what you think you'll get in Columbus tomorrow.
Pure electricity here. I mean, I walked in. I'm staying at this place on campus called the Morris Inn, and I walked in yesterday, and there was a guy playing bagpipes in here. I grabbed dinner with Richard Digger Phelps last night, and you could just feel the buzz around town. They were so excited. They moved finals, Dan, to this week. It typically finish a week earlier in anticipation and hoping that they might have a home game, and they do. So everybody is like all in, same direction, pulling. Columbus, based on being there Sunday, I think there will be excitement that is just waiting for something to go wrong, and then there will be angst. The first time they don't convert a third down, the first time Tennessee completes a 15-yard pass or something, or Dylan Sampson, gets loose for a 20-yard run, there will be anxiety in that building. And I think how Day and the players respond to that internally will be really, really important Saturday night. It's more of an angsty, like there's still the pall hanging over, and they're just wondering if something's going to happen, if the shoe is going to drop. And here, it's all seashells and balloons for right now at Notre Dame. They're excited.
Good to talk to you. Have fun tonight. We'll be watching.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Always.
That's Rece Davis, College Game Day. They'll be live. The two first-round playoff sites. It'll be Notre Dame. They start at 3:30 this afternoon. They go till 8, and then it's game time. And then they go to Columbus. It'll be 9 a.m. Saturday, and then they go to noon ahead of the Buckeyes matchup with Tennessee.